Shalom. Today, Jews around the world celebrate God's liberation of the Jewish people from bondage in Egypt to freedom in the Promised Land. Passover is a time for hope. And boy, do we ever need hope now more than ever. The October 7th attacks were genocidal, homicidal, sadistic, and the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Since that time, Jews, including here in Canada, have been the targets of vandalism, hate speech, fire bombings, and harassment. And yet, we have hope. In fact, the message of Passover brings that hope, that no matter the despair, no matter how bad things look, that God will be there to deliver the Jewish people through to the Promised Land. And so, as you sit around the Seder table and share time and blessing with your families, may you enjoy the hope and renewal that comes with Passover. And may you take from the beautiful message of Passover hope to go into the future. And so from my family to yours, let me say, Happy Passover.
1 Samuel chapter 8, in their King James Version. And it came to pass when Samuel was old, that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgments.
Lucre.
Money or profits. Gain in money or goods. Profit, riches. Often in an ill sense. Verse 4. And then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel, when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the words of the people, in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, and I shall not reign over them. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto thee. Now therefore hearken unto their voice. Howbeit, yet protest solemnly unto them, and shew them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel took all the words of the Lord unto the people, and unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. The real sons of Israel, they're going to be workers. They're going to be the foot soldiers and the runners of the king. That is not Yahushai's appointment. appointed and anointed leader for his people. It's the king that the people have said that they want, because they no longer want to walk in the way of Yahweh. Let's continue. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of chariots. I'm just doing my job. Our sons and our daughters are the ones going to war, are the ones who are the instruments of war, the tools, the things that these kings use for war. Our sons and daughters are going into all these engineering and all these degrees to make their instruments of war, their medical instruments of war, and then their military instruments of war, their legalese instruments of war, and their law enforcement instruments of war, their doctrines instruments of war, and their business practices instruments of war, and their academic, psychological, and emotional courses and structures and institutions that are all combined to be instruments of war against the chosen people. That is why the chosen people are physically at war, spiritually being attacked. They are physically being attacked, spiritually being attacked, mentally being attacked, emotionally being attacked. Because our own are the ones being educated and being used to be the instruments of war. Let's continue. And the instruments of his chariots, the transportation mechanisms that are being used to carry, the military mechanisms that are being used to carry, the municipal transportation system, the municipal transportation vehicles, the provincial transportation vehicles, and the federal transportation vehicles that are carrying all of these war tactics and all these war devices. These are the chariots, the vehicle in which they sit in and stand in to transport them for the purpose of waging war on the true people of Israel. Let's continue. Verse 13. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers.
Confectionery.
Sweet preparations and confections. A shop. Who were the original people that were making sweets? Who were the original people that was making all of these pastries for these kings? The storefronts that were making all these desserts and all these pastries for these lavish kingdom banquets and feasts. Who were they? We might think, oh, the Scandinavians and their confectionaries, but who were the original people in those lands who were doing it? What we have to bring back is the real history, real geography. Verse 14. And he will take your fields, take your land, and your vineyards, and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. What do they do when they come and they conquer and they invade lands? They take the best for their servants. Not the officers, for their servants. The best goes to those who are the ones who are serving them in the capacity of indoctrination and serving them in the capacity of pushing a lie. And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your asses and put them to his work. All that you own, all that you use to serve you and to work for you, this king is going to take and put to work for himself. Your best, your king is going to use for his own devices, for his doing, his becking, his call. Verse 17, he will take the 10th of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. Oh no, before I go there, sorry. Verse 15. And he will take the 10th of your seed and of your vineyards and give to his officers and his servants. Verse 15. You're going to be paying your taxes. You're going to be taking a 10th of yours and give to his officers. Those are the tax collectors. Those are all your minister of finances, all these taxes that you're paying. These are his officers. The political people, the people in business, those are his officers. The servants, you're going to be giving them his 10%. Those are the ones in these pulpit and pews and religions that now you give your 10% to. And they are his servant because they're out there making disciples out of a lie. They're out there pushing doctrines. And you're serving the king through these people. That is why when 2020 came, all of his officers and all of his servants stood attention. And they went in lockstep based on what the king decreed. The head decreed, and all of the officers, all the political leaders went forth. And then the political leaders now within each land mass now gave to their officers. And then the servants have their head. The religious organizations all have their heads. And they listened to that king. And they went out as servants and pushed the narrative. The king has officers and servants, and you give your 10% in both areas. And he will take your men servants and your maidservants and your godliest young men and your asses and put them to work. Verse 17. And he will make the 10th of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. Verse 18. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, even after Samuel told them all this, verse 19, nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, nay, but we will have a king over us. They said, no, don't care. We don't care. Whatever. We want a king over us. Verse 20. That we shall be like all the nations. You know the syndrome of wanting to be like everybody else? You're looking to see what everybody else have. We want a king like everybody else. We want a man-made king. We want a king that's created from a man-made structure. The man-made structure of these monarchies, the man-made structures of these headship that man makes. We want that. We want that system. We want the man-made corruptible system. Because why? Samuel, it's your fault. Your sons, they're not following your ways. So let's throw out everything, including how do you deal with the sons. Instead of saying to Samuel, this is what your sons are doing, deal with them, talk to God. You need to, and have God remove them, because we need godly and righteous men in that position. They didn't ask God for that. They said, throw out everything, the kitchen sink, and just give us worldly systems. So let's continue. Verse 20, they say that we also may be like the nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us and fight our battles. Laziness started. We don't want to fight our battles anymore. We want somebody else to fight our battles for us. And we want that person to judge us based on their system and their structures. And they're going to go before us, and they're going to fight our battles. So we don't want to take responsibility of our destiny, our outcome, because we're now going to put it in the hands of these kings, and we are going to subject ourselves to their rulership, their laws, and their decrees. And whatever wars and battles they tell us that we're supposed to fight, they're going to fight it for us. They're now going to determine the wars. They're now going to be the ones to tell us who our enemies are. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, the true Israel. This is where it all began. This right here is where the ripple effect of stolen identity started, because that is how this thing came into play. And he said, go ye every man unto his city, because now the stage has been set, and now Samuel is tasked in going to find a king. And the Most High is going to give them the best of the best, knowing because that best is carnal, and that best did not come through the way, the means, and the customs of the Most High designating leadership. The Most High knew that no matter how good that leader is going to fall. Because at the end of the day, they will be corruptible. This Samuel chapter 8 is the beginning of the prophecy of the true children of Israel, the real children of Israel, going into the 400 years of perpetual captivity and slavery, so that all these things can come to pass. And those who know the truth did more than what they should, because they now needed to ensure that the real children of Israel will never be able to regain their footing. So this is where it all began, in separating the people from the truth, separating the people from their identity, so that their manservants, their maidservants, their goodly sons, their daughters, their sons, their livestock, their vineyards, their land will be separated from them, never to be returned. knowing that it was only for an appointed time. So this fast forward to the continual lie of the identity of who the real Jews are, and the propaganding and the holding up high the narrative of who the kings say that they are, and who the people that call themselves Jews say who they are. It has ended, because the real descendants of the tribe of Judah, the real descendants of the tribe of Israel, that's the tribe of Jacob, we are awake, and we're not going back to sleep. Why? Because Yahweh said so. And there's absolutely nothing that you and your officers and your servants are going to be able to do, because this is not by your works and it's not by my works. It's by the work of Yahweh. Ruach Kodesh is going to fulfill prophecy. You will be exposed continually, and you will no longer have the power you had. And all your officers in the political realms will fall, and your servants will be exposed. And I was just doing my job, and I was also lied to is not going to be their excuse, because they have fully known the truth. Willful ignorance is not going to be a defense. And for all those who willfully laugh, scorn, mock, and put your head in the sand and refuse to want to even use your own God-given critical thinking, you have been found guilty by your own willful ignorance.
When we endeavor to find some other links connecting the Fulani to the east, several circumstances arrest our attention. The first is provided in the passage of Hanno's Periplus. The second, in the invasion of Lower Egypt by the Hyksos. The third, in the Hebraic tendencies and particular familiarity with Hebrew legends observed among the Fulani. The Tubman is the most widely recognized symbol of the Underground Railroad. When she escaped on September 17, 1849, Tubman said freedom felt empty unless she could share it with people she loved. So she resolved to go back and rescue friends and family. Harriet read our history books, but I remember how in school they taught us that black slaves were these uneducated, poor, primal beasts that just roamed around Africa naked and afraid.
Jerry, hey, lose my leg. I ain't holding your leg. Someone singing, my Lord, Kumbaya. Oh, Lord, Kumbaya. Sing it, Kumbaya, Lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, Lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, Lord, Kumbaya. Oh, Lord, Kumbaya. Sing it, someone singing, my Lord, Kumbaya. Singing, my Lord, Kumbaya. Singing, my Lord, Kumbaya. Oh, Lord, Kumbaya.
It became a standard campfire song for whites and tent revivals at summer camps. It enjoyed a broader popularity during the folk revival of the 1950s and 1960s. The problem is the song that whites would translate as "come by here" is really "kumbaya."
Kumbaya, 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 Kumbaya. Come by here, y'all. The time is an instant. They're hearing our message. You have revealed to us the blessing that comes after the testing. tower, for we know not the hour. You are our power, our enemies you devour. Come by here, Yah, in a time of darkness. The world is heartless. Missing kids on cart. Who would have thought this? Come by here, Yah. You are in control. You got the nations on hold. The wicked must...
What does that mean, you ask? Well, Yah is the abbreviated name of the God of the Bible, Yehovah. The song is not come by here, but come here, Yah. A plea for deliverance from the captors. Hebrew words and traditions are not only found in the language and culture of the Gola people of South Carolina and Georgia, but also throughout the African diaspora. Even the very names of slaves prior to the changing that took place at purchase had Hebrew origin. The Hebrew people will often surname themselves after the God they serve. This is how we got names like Jeremiah, Nehemiah, Saraiah, Yekoniah, Hezekiah, etc. All naming themselves after Yah. If you ever took the time to scroll through the slave ledgers and look at the names that the slaves had before they were changed, you will find that most were Hebrew. Sing to Elohim, sing praises unto his name, extol him that rideth upon the heavens, by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. See, not only will you find indigenous Hebrew names in the slave trade database, aka names are rather Yah or El as a prefix or suffix, you will even find the pronunciation of the name Yah hidden in some of the names of the countries where people will take it from, like Kenya, Algeria, Libya, Eritrea, Tunisia, Zambia, Namibia, Gambia, etc. Even the territory of South Africa, before Europeans dubbed it South Africa, was called in ancient times Azania. So how is that relevant? Well, the name is Azania, according to the Smith Bible Dictionary, means Azania, whom the Lord hears, the father or immediate ancestor of Yeshua the Levite in the time of Nehemiah.
Stay in action with faith and possibility. Walk in and protect your light. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean and live like you mean what you say.